online TV. In today's issue, we are going to talk about a topic on health, and that topic is on fibroids. Now, fibroids actually is a condition which affects almost about 25 to 50% of women. And what normally happens is that they develop non-cancerous masses developing in their uterus. Now, with those things developing in the uterus, eventually the question is, should they undergo hysterectomies? Hysterectomies basically is removing the uterus. So you find that some of these ladies develop these fibroids at an early age, when some of them possibly have not even had any children. And of course, with an operation like that, it basically means they'll never have children again. So, first and foremost, let's start with what are fibroids. So basically, as I said before, fibroids are actually growths which can be found within the uterus. They may be so tiny, or they may be large fibroids, and there can be many. And you find that these fibroids will have pressure, they'll have an effect on the uterus. And as a result of that, you may find that some people will end up having heavy menstrual periods. And also some people have pain while they have sexual intercourse. And also may find a problem with urination, because they can put pressure on the bladder, and then also you can also find that with the development of these things, you may find somebody actually having pressure on the back, so that the person gets backache. Now the question is, what can we do about these conditions? Now, I think we have polar opposites in this world. We have female with male. We have dark, we have light. Everything is in two sides. So, even male, female, he, she. So, plus, minus. So, when it comes to the subject of healing, we have two sides, polar opposites. We have conventional therapy, which is 200 years old plus. And then we have alternative medicine, which has existed from the time of Adam and Eve. Now, there's a collection of knowledge from alternative medicine, right? We have got a lot of rich knowledge from the Romans and also the Egyptians and other communities on how they used to handle disease between those years until about 200 years ago, when conventional medicine was launched. And of course, the basic principles within conventional medicine is that everything has to be proved in a laboratory before it can be used or authorized to be prescribed by your doctor. So this laboratory issue becomes a problem, because it basically means then even God has to be put in a laboratory test, so that we can be able to agree that God exists, or we should use God for healing, because people pray to God for healing. But now, if it comes to conventional medicine, there'll be a problem, because telling people to go and pray will violate actually the principles, because God cannot be put under a microscope. So if we use the same principle, it means also God does not exist, you see, because we cannot test God in a laboratory, scientific laboratory. So since God exists and we've accepted, we have even conventional practice, they believe in God, and God cannot be tested in a lab. So it basically means there are so many other things which exist which cannot be tested in the laboratories, because even the power of the laboratory to test anything depends on what period of time you exist. the equipments we have right now are not the equipments which were in the labs 100 years ago for doctors to use. And if you go to another 100 years. So basically it means there are so many treatments which people could not be given because they've not been proven scientifically. So as a result of that, many people died in the process. And even now, many people are dying because we have a lot of alternatives which can help them. But since they cannot be tested in the laboratory, in other words, they don't accept just the way God cannot be put in under a microscope. Even those treatments cannot be put in a microscope because they are natural. These are nature's pharmacy. We have nature's methods of handling diseases, and we don't have a microscope that can test nature as such. So we have that dilemma. So actually, when you have these chronic diseases, when you say chronic, these diseases are incurable. It's on the context of conventional medicine. They are incurable. It's a fact, yes, because there's no cure in the textbooks. But then we said there are two sides. We have conventional and we have alternative. That is, we have the right and the left. So if the right has no solution to your problem, then try the left. Even in the scriptures, we are told that if one door is locked, don't stay on that door, you continue knocking it. Look, there's another door that is open. So if you try conventional and it cannot work, you're told there's no cure, then that door is closed. Why don't you check the alternative door? Now, if you say the alternative door has to be tested, has to be seen, has to be put under a microscope. It can't. God, you can't put. You are also saying God should be put in under a microscope. So those things do not work. So that's why most people are suffering. So like people with fibroid, for example, there's nothing. There's no much. You'll be helped symptomatically, the pain relieves and other things, and then possibly at the end of the day, your uterus will be removed. But I would not advocate for that because there's something that can be done in alternative medicine. And basically with alternative medicine, it is even you yourself, you do it yourself. You do it yourself because they're natural things, you see. It's just a matter of you practicing right living and right thinking. Simple, that's a prescription. Learn what is meant by right living, what is meant by right thinking, and then go and assess yourself. Are you practicing right living and right thinking? If you are not and you have a disease, then that's the root. Simple. Why do you want to go and seek somebody else? You yourself, you can do your own conclusions and make the necessary changes. Simple. So you'll find that with the fibroids, we are talking about the fibroids themselves. They are non-cancerous. They are tissues which are non-cancerous, but it's a mass. The other thing is estrogen. Estrogen is a hormone. I want you to get me very well. We have the fibroids, the non-cancerous masses. We have estrogen. And what normally happens is that estrogens feed those masses, and that's when they grow and they enlarge themselves. So there are people with excess estrogen, whereby you find these estrogens will feed those masses and then they grow, they enlarge. So if you starve those masses estrogen, they shrink naturally. You see, very simple. I want you to understand that. If you have fibroids, it basically means you have excess estrogen which are feeding the fibroids. That's why they're enlarging themselves. It basically means two things. Either your body is not metabolizing estrogen effectively, or you are consuming products which are boosting the estrogen levels so that it can feed those fibroids. So basically, we are coming back to you as the creator of the fibroids. Because genetically, we are different. And you may find there are people who are more predisposed to getting fibroids genetically. So if you eat wrongly, you can eat products which contain synthetic estrogens, such as dairy, meat. If they contain synthetic estrogens, then you'll oversupply estrogen in your body. And since you have a genetic deficiency, you'll find that this surplus estrogen will feed the fibroids, and the fibroids will grow. So, solution, it is you. Stop eating those things. Why do you say it's incurable? Can you go and eat organic meat? Things which steroids and other things have not been used on them. Eggs and other things. You change your lifestyle. Look at things which contain any synthetic estrogen, omit them. Simple. Don't say that because everybody is eating them, you also eat. You've been eating them since you were a kid. That's why you have the problem. You don't require rocket science. It's basically a change in your life. Right thinking and right living. Simple. So you have to identify what kind of foods can you eat. The foods which you eat will promote the metabolism of estrogens. Very simple. And also when you come to TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine, it's part of alternative medicine. They also have their own solution. They also have their own description of how fibroids occur. With them, they talk about, because their medicine is over 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 years old, they've done their own research. It's a stagnation of life energy. There's a life energy, they call it qi. Stagnation of that life energy in the liver results in the production of masses in the body, including fibroids. So if there's stagnation of the life energy, qi, now with the Chinese, they are more developed because they've studied the body pressure points. So you can use your hand. Within the hand, according to Chinese medicine, there are pressure points representing various organs in the body. So you find that, like the upper ones, can affect the head. If you have headache, by putting pressure on this, you can deal with the headaches. Along here represents the chest, the lungs, organs. So by putting pressure, some pressure here, you'll deal with the issue of the lungs. Come here, the middle here. Pressure on these points will affect things about the stomach. If you have ulcers, you have epigastric problems, vomiting, other things. You can put there are a lot of pressure points, and all over the hand. The whole body is mapped here. So the liver itself has got its own pressure point on the hand. So if there's stagnation of energy and the liver metabolizes estrogen, the excess estrogen, it can break them down and they be eliminated. So if there's stagnation, according to the Chinese medicine, your liver cannot function optimally. It cannot break down the estrogens. So there'll be surplus, and they'll feed what? They'll feed your fibroid. So basically, by you yourself learning those pressure points and putting pressure on them, 10 minutes also per day, you'll cause the energy to flow effectively within the liver, and the liver will start functioning well. That is Chinese medicine. And then we also have things such as fiber and products such as soy products. They are known to promote metabolism of estrogen. So you'll find that all these things can be done by yourself. So you just practice right living and right thinking. Issues of operation should be a last resort, because what I see is that people are looking for medicine, something they can swallow, the fibroid goes, and they want to still eat foods which are supplying synthetic estrogen into their body. You see? So you cannot eat the wrong things. They are causing you problems, and then you want medicine to finish the disease, and you continue eating. Just change your lifestyle. Simple solution, and you move out of that thing. If you go to back that lifestyle, the thing will come back. Once you've known that it is you who has the power. But when you say the power is your medical provider, whoever is the doctors, is your nurse, who has the power? You come and mess up without your eating, and then you go back to them. Now the problem is always be there. They'll be checking, the thing is just there, it's looking at you. So it starts with you. Thank you very much. Subscribe to our channel so that you can be getting updates. And for more inquiries or other things, you can also contact me. My contacts are on this video. Thank you very much.